the woman accidentally discovered that her newborn twin sons would cry non-stop whenever they saw her, but would instantly calm down in front of their grandmother. Faced with such strange behavior, the woman didn't suspect a thing. Instead, she flashed a sly smile, because she had lived this life once before. In her previous life, on the day she gave birth, she was told her husband had died in a car crash. After that, she raised the two boys alone through years of hardship. But on the day of their college entrance celebration, the man who had been dead for 20 years suddenly appeared with a scheming woman by his side. The woman proudly announced that she was the boy's real mother, and that this woman had just been a substitute nanny for 20 years. It was only then the woman realized the sons she raised with her life weren't even her own. Even worse, the two sons had known all along, and had worked with the man to transfer all her assets away. That night the woman collapsed from rage, and soon after died in anger. When she opened her eyes again, she was back in the delivery room 20 years ago. Before she could react, her father-in-law told her with a sorrowful face that her husband had died in a car accident. Watching their poor acting, the woman hated how blind she had been in her past life, because it was back then she had believed them, and let them handle the funeral, which allowed the man to fake his death and disappear. So this time she made a silent vow that everyone who betrayed her would pay the price. She then pretended to be devastated, and told her in-laws that even if her husband was gone, she would raise the two kids alone. The in-laws thought their plan had worked, and happily moved forward with the next steps, but they didn't know that on the day the babies were born, the woman had already planted the seed of revenge. 18 years quickly passed. Under her careful guidance, the two sons were admitted to a top university. She couldn't wait to share the good news with the in-laws, and invited them to attend the boys' celebration the next day. The next day when the in-laws arrived, they smiled brightly at their grandsons, but before the woman and the boys could even sit down, the father-in-law already had new ideas, saying that since the boys would soon go abroad, it was a waste for her to live alone in such a big house, so they planned to move in with her. The woman pretended to hesitate, then slowly took out a contract, telling them the house had already been sold. The in-laws' expressions changed instantly, and they scolded her for making decisions without asking, but the woman smiled and explained that she sold the house for the boys' future, since studying abroad would be expensive. But the in-laws wouldn't give up, insisting that she hand over the sale money to them for safekeeping. What they didn't know was that 3 days earlier, the woman had already transferred all the money into an education fund for the boys, which no one else could access. When the grandmother tried to argue again, the grandfather quickly stopped her, whispering that if the money was with the grandsons, it was still as good as theirs. Hearing that, the grandmother smiled again. Just then the time came, and the woman was about to go on stage to give a speech, but suddenly the man who had died 20 years ago walked in, with the scheming woman right behind him.